Gooners and Goonettes, if I could get you to stop choking your chicken for 5 seconds. Afterwards, you can do whatever you want. But for 5 seconds, let me get your attention. Today, we're going to be looking at 1,000 players build massive civilizations in Minecraft by my boy Ish. Little known fact, if you didn't know, me and Ish, we actually grew up together, went to high school. Real nice guy, real great guy. His mom is like a second mom to me. His home is always a second home. And just to see him develop and just grow as an individual and just see him be so successful on YouTube really warms my freaking heart. So we're gonna be checking this out today, and I am lying. I'm lying. I'm 100% lying. I don't know, but we're gonna check this out today. That's what I do know. All right, so we go get
the biggest social experiment ever done in Minecraft. I scattered 1,000 people across 4 massive islands to simulate a realistic civilization.
Oh, that's
the
cool.
Players were given no help or guidance, and just like in real life, if you die, you remain dead forever.
That's
now,
fire.
Each player has the freedom to do whatever they want.
Bro, Ish, why you ain't bring me? We're literally twins. We're literally twins. You could have called me, bro. You got my number. Seriously. You got my number.
Resources, join a society, become a dictator, or if it comes down to it, go to war.
Yeah, I see that lag.
With so many people on each island, anything can happen. But I can promise you one thing. This event ended up having the most entertaining story arc I've ever seen. You do not want to miss this. So pick a nation to root for and enjoy the video.
This is a cool concept. I like this.
The 1,000 player civilization experiment.
Heck yeah. W presentation too.
Don't forget, if you want to participate in these videos, join my Discord server, and of course, subscribe to my channel.
You got my number, Ish.
All right, everyone ready to be teleported?
Oh.
Jump if you're ready. Okay, here we go.
All right, this should be good. 1,000 players left. Dang.
I'm in.
Oh, that's
On day 1,
that's a terrible
all
scene.
1,000 players were teleported to their islands, each its own biome. We had plains, desert, snow, and jungle.
This is huge.
Most players spent the first day scouting their
what
island,
he
searching
said.
for a place to settle, but almost immediately we started to see people dying, and oddly, they were all coming from the snow island. It turned out people were freezing to death after getting stuck
I
in
hate
powdered
that.
snow.
I hate that-
which
that
looks
block.
exactly like regular snow, but sucks you in like quicksand. This guy's trying to free his friends.
Oh, you might be done, bro.
Even
That's
worse,
literally
for
the
poor
dumbest
people on
thing
the
they
snow
added.
Island, trees were almost nowhere to be seen. The desert island also had very few trees, which players needed if they wanted to get wood. But the places where players did find trees quickly became extremely valuable hotspots for groups to settle at and colonize.
Playing
Look at
on
all these
hard
people go
mode.
together. Community crafting. They're making progress. Meanwhile, the people on the jungle island had essentially unlimited trees and were thus already thinking about other things. What did you say your plan was?
I'm gonna take over the world. This is my right-hand man.
Yeah, until
Darbo. Hello, right
gotta be the last one
I'll
standing.
talk to him. This is
Come on, bro.
While having a lot of trees did seem like an advantage at first, many jungle people found the island to be difficult to traverse, given the immense amount of trees and the hostile mobs that would spawn on the surface due to lack of sunlight.
I mean, that's still the best one because you got hecky resources, real spill. Like you have a lot to use and build off of. So that's a small little negative, honestly. So like the positive, the pro outweigh the con. Now versus now you in the snow, you're just cooked, honestly. I mean, you're not cooked, but like you playing on very hard mode.
This fear of traveling also made it more difficult for jungle people to talk with each other, since players could only read chat messages from people 100 blocks away from them or less. Although frankly, at least they didn't have to see what me and the admins were looking at. Lastly, we get to the Plains Island, and boy was it different from the others.
Now this look nice.
It
See, they
truly
chilling.
was just the perfect island to live on, with green grass, trees, animals, and no natural dangers. These guys make a little animal family. Or farm. Not needing to worry about dying as much as everyone else, the people on the Plains Island were among the first to start mining for resources like iron or
They doing good,
diamonds.
working
They were also the first
together
to
too.
build up villages, and yes, to create civilizations.
Yeah, they're doing good. Now I can't wait to get to the point where I get we start off buddy, and then you know when you turn your head or turn your avatar around, I come and kill you and take all your loot. Now that's gonna hit extra hard.
Throughout the first day, you can see two main groups starting to come together. One of them, a democracy led by a player named Horace Crown.
Our aim is building the most beautiful and nicest city on the entire server.
And the second, also a democracy led by a player named Sidefall.
I just want to make sure nobody dies.
It was actually kind of odd how similar these two civilizations were. They were both located on the southern shore, they both had democratic elections, and their leaders both wanted good for their own people.
That's a good
I just hope
location.
nothing happens to change that.
Ish, I'm gonna make an Among Us character.
Never mind, I hope they die. Soon it was the end of day one.
That's valid. That's a
Players
valid
across all
statement.
4 islands logged off and made plans for the following day.
Day 2.
It was on day 2 when civilizations really began to thrive. In the southeast corner of the desert, what used to be an empty patch of grass was turning into the desert's largest
Okay,
nation.
they're doing good.
Good
They're
sir.
doing good.
Yo, what's up, Ish? The Sultan is back.
You might recognize the player storming hell from my first civilization video where he led a nation called the Sultanate. Well, now the desert dictator is
that.
back with the Sultanate 2.0, and this time with a population of over 100 people.
They got a
want
nice ring to
maintain
it.
Order and peace in the desert.
The rules, as established by the Sultan, included wear proper attire, do not eat pork, complete your mandatory work, and most importantly, acknowledge the Sultan as the supreme and divinely chosen leader. Moving on,
That's
since
not-
it was still hard to get
Those
food
some
in a
good
dry
rules.
climate,
But I'm not about to get on my knees and slob you down, bro. Absolutely not. I'm gonna do my own thing. The other first 3 rules, that's cool. But I'm not about to start glazing you. Absolutely. Nah, that's not finna go down.
the people of the Sultanate focused on developing different types of food production, like fishing in the surrounding ocean. On
Dang,
top of this, a
buff as
player
hell.
named Drip Chicken made a chicken market, although when I checked it out myself, it turned out to be a very different type of market.
Welcome to Los Pollos Hermanos.
Thank you.
Would you like some totally legal sugar?
Anyway, we finally
What do you
go
mean by
back
that, bro?
to the snow island.
I don't
As
think
was
that's that
flying
sugar.
around, I found what I can only describe as a British shrimp. Is the cold climate really the best place for a shrimp?
I mean, depends. But look at my little friend over here, you know?
Wait, who's your friend? Underneath?
Yeah, he's fully here. He's literally...
Oh, the squid? I thought he was talking about the actual person.
Oh, he's up here now.
No, my fish buddy. Please go back down.
Despite the killer powdered snow
we
and the
gonna get him
occasional
down,
polar
too.
bear, the people on the snow island were actually doing pretty well building settlements together.
everybody
Nobody
doing
was
good.
fighting because everyone had one common enemy, the harsh climate. That being said,
And the mods.
it turned out that all of these snow settlements might be a bit more than just little communities. On day 2, rumor was getting out about a conspiracy that, despite them all being spread out across the entire island, a lot of these snow settlements were actually all being run by one single person.
Already?
His goal was to unify the entire snow island under one mighty empire.
It just
This
started.
person's name was Alanulo, and he was running this entire empire recruitment operation from an underground bunker where he felt he was safe for the time being. Essentially, what he would do was hold meetings with people who were already leaders of their own
Like
settlement.
this already, like it just started. It's day 2. There's already like some trickery going on, bro. You gotta at least let the days pass, bro. And then we can think about taking over and having a new world order. Real spill.
And convince them to merge their civilizations with his empire so they would be stronger together. He would give these leaders orders to fulfill, and in exchange, they would be guaranteed high-ranking positions in the empire. If this empire actually succeeds in
Okay.
uniting all 300 people on the Snow Island, it
feel like that's
would
gonna be hard,
easily
though.
become the most powerful nation in the world. In fact, it would be bigger than the Sultanate and the two Plains democracies combined. Will this ambitious plan actually
Yeah, they gotta lock
succeed?
in if they
Let's see
tryna
what happens
unify.
in the following days.
You gotta lock in. And you can't have no Judas in the group either. Anybody that's not on board, we getting you gone. Execution Order 66. I think I said that bad. Order execution.
We've now covered the politics of every island except for the jungle. So what's going on here? Well, quite frankly, I had no freaking idea. It was chaos. There were about 30 different camps and tribes spread out across the entire.
Wait, what that say?
It was chaos. There were about 30 different camps.
praise Monkey God. Monkey God Oak?
I've spread out across the entire island, and a lot of them were in constant fights with each other. Who are the? What is
And
going
that's
on?
it's
There's a
perfect. The
fight
two
here.
low key that they fight in the jungle, literally the wild west, the jungle where the freaking like savages is usually at. So that sound about right.
Here's a tribe that imprisoned one of their own members for being, quote, too rich.
I say we tax
That's
him
so
and let him
haterish.
out of jail.
Damn boots, take your shoes.
So overall, there was chaos, nobody trusted one another, and to add to this,
That's
nobody
haterish,
wanted
bro.
to travel too far into the jungle because they were scared of rogue tribes and especially hostile mobs.
What's up,
In fact,
Fred?
we actually had to remove creepers on day 3 because they were killing too many people.
Whoever asked.
Now, there were
Yeah,
actually
I
two
hate
tribes that
creepers,
were considered the most influential in the jungle. The first, a river-based settlement called the...
They built that already? God, that one is nice. What the hell? Yo, these workers, they move fast.
Sea People, whose leader was killed almost immediately by a random rogue tribe.
Now you gotta
The
call him
leader,
Seaman.
Yeatspeak, dedicated his rule to maintaining order, but also to keeping his people happy by setting up events like stand-up comedy nights.
I got a few jokes about unemployed people. Oh wait, none of them work.
The second influential tribe was located in the dead center of the jungle.
That's cool, they got
and
a
it was what
community.
appeared to be a faction revolving around the worship
Community
of a player
night?
named Seth. Hello, Mr. Seth.
Oh, what's up, bro?
Oh, this is just creepy. You're telling me this isn't a personality cult?
Nah, I wouldn't say that. It's a way of life, alright?
Nah,
It's a
that's
religion.
exactly what that
Lastly,
is.
as I was flying around, I happened to run into this guy again.
I'm gonna take over the world.
Believe it or not, he had actually become the leader of a pretty impressive settlement. Granted, there was a lot of internal drama in his tribe.
Do you see this like really cool tower thing that we're building here?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. It's really cool here. And do you see our farm over there? It's really cool and nice. Now come over here. Could you tell us what this is?
In short, two of
Was it a
Wazik's tribe
treehouse?
members built a librarian's tower, and he thought it was ugly and wanted to burn it down.
No,
Now,
I
when I
look-
talked to the librarians, they said Wazik just doesn't like the library because he's illiterate. As I said, drama. Now,
Nah,
the
it's nice,
jungle
though.
wasn't the only place having problems.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it could get, you know what I'm saying, cleaned up a little bit, maybe a little remodel. But I like it, though. I like it's straight. Like, the inside, at least the inside, nice. It ain't dingy.
The Plains Island was seeing both a surge in development, this whole place is awesome, but also a rise in tension. The leader of one of the Plains democracies, Horus Crown, had found out that the other Plains nation, run by Sidefall, had reached out to the Snow Island looking for potential alliances. Horus Crown did not like that Sidefall was reaching out to other islands instead of reaching out to him, so he quickly established his own.
Yeah, because that is a problem, because then you trying to sneak to the other nation so then you can recruit them and then try to take over what I got going on. Ain't nothing bigger than the Quaymeister. That's facts. So the fact that you trying to sneak and do that, we already at odds. And it's bad enough we on the same island too. That we got to nip that in the bud. Like, that got to get patched.
Alliance with two other plain settlements, both located on the east side of the island, which would essentially cut off Sidefall's access to most of Plains if a war were to break out.
We think Sidefall is definitely up to something, and we're planning to stop him.
The people living on the Plains Island, who had otherwise taken their peaceful lives for granted, were getting very worried about a potential massive war that would devastate their homes.
Here in KFC, we want family, not war.
Meanwhile, on the desert island, the Sultan storming hell was not happy when he discovered that a group of mountaineers had made their home on the mountains surrounding the Sultanate. So, the two groups had a meeting to discuss this dispute over land.
Why does the Sultanate have any more right to a plot of land?
Simply, might makes right. We're stronger, so if it comes down to it, may the stronger group win.
People in the desert were
And if you want more land, you got to pay up that freaking property tax too. So say you want something that's on my property, that's in my domain, that's gonna cost you. And because we at odds and we rivals, I'm a triple the price. So if you want it, that's cool. It's gonna cost you at least 500 diamonds minimum. If you don't got that, hey man, that's too bad. And if you still try to take it, we're gonna be taking your kingdom.
Storming Hell's tyrannical nature, so some of them moved to a quickly growing democratic nation on the other side of the island. This was Theria, the name derived from the Greek word for freedom. I asked their elected President Saps about the Sultanate.
Hopefully we can establish some peaceful relations for now.
This is
I
dope,
mean, we're
though.
in the middle of a desert. Like,
How they
you
actually
know?
build up
Overall,
civilizations.
each
though,
island
in
had its
Minecraft.
own
That's fire.
conflict between the desert's Sultan dominance, the plains' alliance disaster, the jungle's total chaos, and the Snow Empire's takeover. At least one of these conflicts was bound to erupt very soon.
Dang, it's already like one freaking unified group on the Snow Island versus like the other ones got multiple little civilizations. I feel like low key with it being this early, like it's having like one big control. I feel like somebody inside internally is going to probably try to break apart and then overthrow Elanuel.
And that conflict was Plains.
Within 4 days, too.
At the
It's
beginning of
crazy.
day 4, a propagandist told everyone that Sidefall was about to attack
Oh,
the Plains
snap.
Island. Horus Crown called a code red, and everyone on Plains was freaking out, including these guys at the center of the Plains Island who built a tavern on a lake. I spoke with the bartender.
Welcome to the tavern. I hope you can enjoy a nice beer, since it might be our last.
So at this
Yeah,
point,
y'all
you're
gotta
probably
defend
wondering,
yourself, bro.
What was Sidefall actually doing? Well, it turns out Sidefall was just as confused as everyone else since he had no plans to attack anyone. The propagandist had...
So who started up the rumor? We gotta bring everybody into the town square and figure out who's making up rumors. If that's true that he didn't plan to like take over another civilization, because we can't have no drama, especially this early. Maybe a little bit later down the line. But right now, you trying to cause confusion and chaos, we're going to get you going. We're going to exile you. Actually, not exile, because you're going to end up going to another civilization, making them stronger. We're just going to kill you. Simple.
Lied.
I have no clue what these guys are talking about. I don't want to attack anyone. I don't want to.
But he could be capping.
You're framed. I can't believe it. So now, both sides were gearing up for a war over nothing but a miscommunication. And all throughout, Sidefall was desperately trying to reach out to the other Plains leaders, saying that he didn't want war. The other leaders doubted him, but they actually agreed to meet with him as long as they met on neutral ground.
Yeah, you got to suit up, though, just in case something
Whoever told you guys I won't
go sideways.
Tell us the truth then.
While they talked, Horus Crown secretly had undercover spies search Sidefall's entire village, but he wasn't aware Sidefall had someone else place a bunch of TNT under his village. But before things went too far...
See? All from freaking rumors.
We have a peace deal.
By the thinnest of margins, crisis was averted.
For
After
now.
talking, the leaders had made a peace treaty.
Yeah, it's cool for now until you find out that all that TNT that's stacked up under their freaking buildings, bro. And then that's going to cause a whole nother thing. And maybe it may not even get to a point where they can get together peacefully and make up some sort of negotiation. That situation is wartime.
We didn't get to see much of the meeting, but here's essentially what happened.
Because he playing me at that
Sidefall
point.
first apologized to the other Plains leaders for not being open with them, specifically about his relationship with the Snow Island. He told them he had only reached out to Snow in hopes to get on the good side of a player named A Freakin' Turkey, who was apparently Elanuelo's second in command. The Plains leaders discussed their disagreements on foreign relations, Horus Crown preferring keeping alliances within Plains, and Sidefall believing in making allies on other islands, but they were able to put their differences aside. They banished the propagandist from the Plains Island, and at the end, the four major...
Not banished. They have to die. They have to die because they're going to cause even more chaos everywhere they go. They're agents of chaos and darkness. So they have to die. So however you do your execution, hanging, waterboarding, something, put them in a bag tied up with rats and roaches and snakes.
Plains nations created a Great Plains Alliance. The Plains Island went from being on the brink of war to being the most united island of all.
It's good it got diffused though. Good job.
And it wasn't just Plains. Toward the end of the day, all four islands were prospering. From the people on Snow collecting resources and building together, to the people in the desert working on the Sultan's build project, which was to create a massive holy city. Even the jungle was at peace at the end of day 4, since the remaining jungle people were just thankful that they were still alive. Soon though, it was the next day. But before we let people back onto the server, the admins and I decided to add a little something.
Yes, sir.
We added a 5th island in the center of the world, and we didn't tell the players that we did this. We wanted to see who would discover the island, how long it would take to find, and then what would happen next. So we started up the server, and the wait began.
Just see a random plot of
we
land.
have to talk about the Snow Island.
Like, what the hell?
Hello, Turkey.
Hello, Itch. How's it going?
On day 5, the player A Freakin' Turkey finally gave me a full explanation of the mysterious Snow Empire, which I found out was named the Aculon Empire.
Okay.
Still fearing for his safety, the Empire's founder, Olanulo, gave orders entirely from his secret underground bunker, while his second-in-command, A Freakin' Turkey,
That is smart to
carried
have a
out
bunker,
his
though.
orders and led the people on the ground.
I feel like they should all have a bunker.
You guys have settlements across the entire island.
There is a lot. Just know none of it was made by slaves.
The Empire relied on strict order to maintain peace.
Now, ain't nothing wrong with
It's now
slaves.
200 citizens were each assigned a daily job, like building.
Ain't nothing wrong with slaves. Somebody gotta do the work. I'm not gonna do the work. Especially when I'm in a high position. I'm gonna have the underlings do that, bro. Nothing wrong with that. You can have slaves.
Mining or fighting, and whenever they
That's
were
what they
online,
slaves
all
for, to
citizens
work.
were required to be in 2 Discord voice channels at once, which I didn't even know was possible. Also, the Aculon Empire made it a point to document everything, including its list of members, its hierarchies, its physical landmarks.
That's
But
smart.
What I found most impressive was the high-level operation going on in this seemingly regular building.
Yes, so they extremely
Singular
structured.
building is the richest place in the entire server.
They called this the Quartermaster's House, and it was where the Aculon Empire not only collected and stored all its resources, but also distributed items using a complex request system, where, for example, a citizen asks for iron ingots, and then the Quartermasters decide exactly how much iron that citizen deserves based on a detailed algorithm they developed.
Dang, they got deep.
Not yet.
I like
Let's
that,
just
though.
say,
That's-
if you tried to get in without permission, you're not gonna get a very nice welcome.
And I kid you not, just a few minutes later, this player, Xelius, was caught trying to sneak his way in.
I was about to say, a situation like you have so much valuables stored in one area, when everybody knows where's it at, you have to have some sort of guards on there, though. You have to have some sort of people stationed in front of it to protect it, because a little sleazy little slime ball like him going to try to and get the materials up under everybody, and then that's not going to be good. And then everybody
He was
pointing
sentenced
fingers.
to a
and-
public execution to be held the
I like
next
that.
day.
I like that.
Things are kind of strict around here.
People gotta die.
Don't take away my squid. I'm a happy man. Oh man, look at him.
The Snow Island continued to be hyper vigilant about criminals.
I
but
wanna see
so
somebody
were
die.
Other nations, like the Desert Sultanate, which made an inescapable prison. He is surrounded by lava. Or Wazak's nation in the jungle, which made a giant sand trap. Oh, this is evil.
Just
Nice.
you wait until we have a nice little deliberation with something.
I'm gonna be put to death, you know. Like,
Even
That is
planes didn't feel exactly safe, as this self-described capitalist nation made a giant wall to protect its people.
We want to make sure that communists cannot take this away from us.
But as I was talking to these guys, I got tipped off from someone in the desert that something big was about to happen. The Sultanate army's on the move.
Hey, hold on, man. I know we're not invading.
The Sultan had sent his elite squad on a secret nighttime mission. Their goal? To find a group of people that had been rumored to want to assassinate the Sultan. They're at the north side of the island now.
Oh, nobody checked out the middle island, though.
Yeah, let's go.
According to the Sultan, the people hiding in this little settlement were indeed the attempted assassins, and now the group had a decision to make.
Yeah, get them gone.
Do we kill this guy?
Up until now, there hadn't been any violence between desert nations. Will this be the breaking point?
Yeah, we killing everybody. We can't have no assassins in close proximity, bro. Can't do that.
We are showing.
We gonna get y'all gone.
Plans to kill me. Justice will come for you.
Especially when you're trying to get me. Like, there's not finna be no overthrowment of the Quaymeister. So if I get any type of inkling, no Splatoon. If I get any type of inkling that there's somebody or a small group of marauders trying to hurt or kill me, we're gonna get you before you can get me. Because I'll be damned if it's always gonna be you over me. Facts.
The Sultan's elite squad spent the rest of the night raiding the settlement, but during their chase of another suspected assassin, they ran literally into a major dilemma.
We know he's running to Theria.
The guy they were trying to kill was running toward the democratic nation of Theria to get asylum there. The Sultanate is really about to roll up on Theria. Holy, this could cause a major conflict. But the Sultanate's army didn't care. They barged into Theria and searched every single house to find this one person who ultimately ended up getting away. Meanwhile, the people of Theria were freaked out by the raid, but when they looked to their leader Saps for guidance, he was nowhere to be seen. He had fled.
Where the hell
The
he went?
Sultanate's army left, but Theria was not going to forget this.
Where the hell Sap went at? Probably doing something sneaky. Yeah, somebody keep your eye on him. Oh, they caught him? Yes, sir!
By attempting to blow up the quartermaster's house, Zelius betrayed our people.
Hang him!
And for this, he must die.
Hang him!
Glory to Aculon.
Glory to Aculon. Facts! Hell yeah.
It was a busy day for a freaking Turkey. The execution was successful.
Beautiful.
But the Empire didn't yet have a written constitution or a justice system. So
we need to see some more people try to revolt, man, so we can get some more executions on screen, man. Turn this joint to a Mortal Kombat game, man. See all type of fatalities. Seriously.
A freaking Turkey met with a player who claimed to be a lawyer to set up a legal system.
You get the smaller seat, unfortunately, but do know it is quite important as well.
I'm used to cramming into tight spaces.
Afterward, a freaking Turkey took his guard to Drew and confronted some farmers who he claimed weren't producing enough food for the Empire.
I swear I will not miss any.
I mean, that looked like a lot, though.
Drew, the bow, please. I expect 5 stacks of bread delivered within 1 to 2 business days.
Even though he was a little tyrannical at times, a
I like
freaking
that,
Turkey
I like
was
that.
actually becoming very well liked in the Aculon Empire.
It spices up
he
the
got things done, and
spices
he was
up
a
the day.
charismatic speaker.
Fellow citizens, it is my distinct honor to pronounce Steve and Pixel as husband and wife.
They get married in there too?
See, even though he was only the second in command of the Snow's Aculon Empire, many people were starting to view a freaking Turkey as a better candidate for leader than Alanulo, since most people in the Empire had never even seen Alanulo, given that he's been hiding underground the entire time, afraid of being assassinated. In fact, some of his own citizens weren't even sure he existed.
That's not
while
good.
Alanulo ruled from afar, only talking with high-ranking officials.
That's not good, because people, they're seeing Turkey is more visible to the people. They're gonna have more connection. The people have more connection to Turkey, to the point where they're like, why isn't Turkey the lead? And then the Turkey probably think, yeah, that is right. I'm the one doing all the work. I'm the one doing all the diplomatic freaking stuff. I should be on charge. Next thing you know, they find a hiding spot. They get in that, they get Mr. Iapar.
A freaking Turkey was considered a man of the people, someone who talks to everyone.
That's
In
not
fact,
good.
A freaking Turkey had gained.
If now he need to be worried, because already the people are siding with Turkey. He need to be nervous, and don't let him find that secret bunker either. Holy, like you're done.
So much notoriety that leaders of other nations were starting to reach out to him for alliances rather than to Alanulo. So as a result of all of this, Alanulo was starting to get a little worried.
Yeah,
Turkey knows that I created this empire and its entire political system, and as long as I am alive, I will be its only ruler.
You got to do something, bro. Mess around and get overthrown, bro, by the empire you built.
That's very funny.
Now, that's down bad.
Amongst your religion, we hold fast to it.
They got a religion too. They got a judicial system.
Island, things haven't slowed
Library.
down one bit. Amidst the chaos, this small group had made a monkey religion, and their goal was to build the biggest tree in the entire world.
The monkey never stops. While everyone else is fighting and killing each other, we are peacefully building.
By now, every tribe in the jungle seemed to have its own goal. These guys, building a tree. This group, called the Blue Cross, provided food and shelter to refugees. Meanwhile, Wazak's goal goal, which was still to take over the world, was seemingly driving him mad, especially after the librarians built a second tower.
See, that would look better though.
Overall, it seemed like there was a lot on Wazik's mind, as if he was planning something big. Meanwhile, Seth and the Sea People were still the two biggest tribes in the jungle, and both pursued very innovative political strategies. For example, Seth got married, but only so he could parade around the jungle and demand wedding gifts from everyone. And you know what? It freaking worked. The Sea People, on the other hand, had taken on a massive goal, which was to finally end the chaos in the jungle. And they did this by sending out stealth groups and hunting down thieves, murderers, and anyone who they claimed did wrong. However, some of the supposed wrongdoers they killed were actually allies of Seth. In response, Seth demanded that the Sea People stop their initiative immediately, but the Sea People planned to continue. All of a sudden, the jungle island was on the verge of a massive war, as if there wasn't enough chaos already.
Why is the jungle people the only one that's like that though? Like they more rambunctious than the other civilizations.
Wait, is someone actually here?
I think so. Whoa, this is crazy. This is awesome.
Well, you're the new leader now, Pokemon. This is yours now.
On day 7, a player named the Pokemonkey discovered the secret 5th island. The island had a mysterious dead terrain, a small pre-built village in the center, and underground, it contained netherite, which is the strongest and rarest resource in the world.
That's all you, bro. First come, first serve.
Pokemonkey was a part of Sidefall's nation in Plains, and he quickly alerted Sidefall about the very strange
But you gotta be careful though. Finding new land, you gotta be careful who you tell that to. Just like with the British came in and taking over the natives' land. You gotta be careful. You know, we do need more people obviously to build up the fifth land, but we can't have too many people knowing though. You know what I'm saying? Have somebody come in thinking they can take over. Like, hold on, man. You're not qualified to be the leader. I'm a better leader. You know what I'm saying? We need followers, not leaders. We need drones in there. Facts.
Discovery he just made. He's taking the blue lantern so people believe him. Guys, I'm not lying. There really is an island. 2 minutes later, another person found the center island. This time, someone from the jungle. Then, like a domino effect, more and more people started arriving.
Good.
Typically either alone or in small groups, like these guys from the desert. Even though they all came from different islands and nations, nobody was fighting. In fact, they seemed to be forming friendships and simply admiring this new mysterious place.
Yeah,
saying,
now.
This is amazing. Quickly, word began spreading across the world that there was a 5th island, and about 30 minutes into day 7, basically everyone knew. It was crazy how fast everyone found out. Now, some nations were hesitant about visiting, believing that the island was some sort of trap, while other nations like the Aculon Empire sent out large exploratory groups to investigate the island. So Aculon is here, but instead of mining for netherite, they're taking the wool from the tents. Oh,
now that's fair to be nervous though.
That makes sense. Something I found interesting was that no nation, not even the Snow Empire, had the courage to publicly claim the center island as part of their nation, as their territory, probably because it would result in conflict with other nations, which was my secret intention when adding the island, that it would cause some type of war. But it didn't cause a war.
Going real well.
Or maybe just not yet.
I guess this is the novelty of a new island. But I think once that war wear out,
presents to you the story of Los Pollos Hermanos. Wow, you've really expanded your business.
Yeah, we're doing quite well.
Because starvation was such a big problem in the desert, Drip Chicken had made it his life's mission to feed the people of the desert.
Now, he been working though. He been working.
I spoke with him on day 2 next to his little food stand.
That's a freaking massive difference from that to the whole freaking massive building. And plus him being on one of the worst islands to spawn into. Hey.
Los Pollos Hermanos had become a staple of the Sultanate, but this business would soon run into some problems. See, on days 4 and 5, the Sultan storming hell was unsatisfied.
Wait. That said 32 cooked chicken for a diamond, or a diamond for a 32 cooked chicken?
See, on days 4 and
God dang, the price is kind of high, ain't it? You can't lower that to like, I don't know, about like 15, 32.
5, the Sultan storming hell was unsatisfied with the slow progress on his build project, the Holy City. So he demanded that the farmers of the Sultanate stop growing food and instead work on his build project. And just like that, the food supply going into Los Pollos Hermanos had completely stopped. The restaurant suddenly had no food available to sell.
Dang.
Having no food, Drip Chicken was instead forced to sell some questionable products, and if he was caught selling these products by either the Sultan or the Sultan's twin guards, he would probably receive a life sentence in the Sultanate prison. Meanwhile, the farmers of the Sultanate were unhappy since they wanted to farm, not be forced to build. So in a rebellious move on day 5, Drip Chicken and the farmers secretly set up a meeting with Saps, the leader of Theria.
Oh, man.
I know you want to move to Theria, but if you do, the Sultan will send his elite squad to hunt you down.
So, what do we do?
Go to Plains or something. There's about to be chaos in the desert.
And Saps was correct. There was about to be chaos in the desert. For reasons he couldn't tell the farmers just
And this could have been avoided.
He did tell me.
You know who Davert is?
Yeah, I think so. He's one of the twin guards, right?
He's about to leave the Sultanate and join me.
Really? The two people the Sultan trusts the most are his two twin guards, the brothers Davert and Zamta, but one of them had grown tired of the authoritarian and warmongering ways of the Sultan. So Davert had reached out to the leader of Theria, and together they created the single craziest plan I have ever heard, and this was it. First, Davert leaves the Sultanate to join Theria. Next, the Sultan finds out about the betrayal and sends his elite squad to kill Davert. Then, when the elite squad is away hunting for Davert, and the Sultan is therefore alone, Davert will sneak back into the Sultanate and kill the Sultan. Davert will then claim leadership over the Sultanate, and as the new leader, he will finally bring peace to the desert. Davert, there is no way this works.
Brother, grow some chest hair. Trust me, you'll work, alright?
So
I like that. I mean, just being like real authoritative. I mean, I think that's like it's fun to see as far as entertainment. But I think being in the civilization, you know, you probably with all the fear mongering, it kind of probably get to a point. It's all right, boom. You know, I probably wanted more diplomatic. So I could understand for the people that's in there that, like, all right, man, we need like a change of pace, especially when you're trying to take people away from something as important as building up the food supply and food resource just to build your supposedly like not ancient city, what is that? Sacred city. Yeah, you know, you got your priorities in the wrong place. I mean, I'm sure it would look nice, but at the same time, like it's what you building up. We don't need that.
The Sultanate and headed to Theria to begin the operation, while Drip Chicken and the farmers fled to the Plains Island. On their way out, some of them took one final look back at their home, at their restaurant, knowing that they would probably never see it again. Knowing that the story of Los Pollos Hermanos had come to an end.
Ah, no. I mean, he built it up so nice, though. It don't look good, though. Damn. It'd be like that.
On day 8, there was a major event on the Snow Island. For the first time ever, Emperor Olanulo had come out from his underground bunker. He had summoned the entire Snow Island to the Aculon Castle so he could publicly be crowned as the leader. For the coronation, all high-ranking officials were required to provide Alanilo a gift.
I present to you a high-quality pair of premium brand sneakers.
Thank you, Applewood.
I, Baron Saul Goodman, give you this present, Lord Alanilo. My presence is your present.
That's not good enough, bro. Execute him.
Alanilo asked his second-in-command, a freaking turkey, to make a speech.
Yeah, my boy just gave me some Jordans. Come on, man. Gave me some Vans, and you just popping up with no gift. Execute it. Execute it, man. Get him out of here.
Confirming Alanilo's undisputed leadership.
My friends, the Aculan Empire is the strongest nation in the world. Not because of one leader, but because of all of us.
Good cap.
Thank you, Turkey.
Good cap.
At
Good
the
cap.
end of the ceremony, Alanilo asked all of his...
You gotta play like that though. You can't show your hand, especially right now and in front of the main leader. If I'm Turkey, I'm gonna try to pull a long play in the long run to try to overthrow him. But I gotta be cool with him first, just to make him be less suspicious of me. So then when the time presents itself, I'm taking over the whole kingdom, man. Once I get everybody on my side on board with the Quaymeister, we're gonna get you going. Facts.
Citizens to follow him out of the castle, down the main path of the Empire, in a symbolic move meant to showcase the unity of the Snow Island.
That's aura. That's aura. That remind me of me, high-key. I like that.
But this image of unity was only a mirage. There was a lot of discontent building within the Empire for many reasons. People didn't like that Alanilo's knights were constantly bossing them around, nor did the Aculan builders like it when Alanilo forced them to work on the Aculan castle instead of letting them finish their own projects. There was this general sense that Alanilo might be overreaching with his power, especially when he started spying on his own citizens to see who was criticizing his leadership.
Okay, he moving crazy.
In order for his citizens to have a good life, they have to live in a strong nation, and the only way to maintain a strong nation was through complete unity under a powerful and unchallenged leader.
That can only last so long before the people are tired of it, bro. Can't do that forever, especially when you spying on the people too. Like that's causing distrust within the citizens in itself. And then that's when, if you Turkey, you got to be whispering to their ear, be like, yeah, you know, he got you doing this. That's crazy. But if it was me, if I was a leader, I wouldn't have you doing like that. I'd do you like that. I'll have you let you work your own, your structures. You do your own thing. I wouldn't spy on you. You know me. I'm a good guy for real. Just think about it. Absolutely, man.
This is why Alanilo was fearful about the discontent within his nation, as well as the rising popularity of his second-in-command, a freaking Turkey.
Hell yeah.
Knowing that they were being spied on, many of a freaking Turkey's supporters were becoming scared living on the Snow Island, afraid that they would be executed for not supporting Alanilo's leadership. So, with the help of a freaking Turkey, plus another high-ranking official, its Ender, some Aculan citizens organized secret evacuations out of the Snow Island through underground tunnels, some of which led to Seth's nation in the jungle, others going to Sidefall's nation in plains. Both Seth and Sidefall were very open to accepting refugees, especially those who opposed Alanilo, someone who they believed to be a dangerous tyrant.
But if we could just get everybody or the majority of the people on the island together in one mind and one accord, just overthrow them. If the majority, like 90%, agree with me, the Quaymeister, yeah, he can't fight all of us by himself, especially when there's already Judas Iscariot within the higher rankings of the island. Yeah, we're gonna get you going. They don't even have to evacuate. Just overthrow.
Also, they had just found out that Alanilo had actually sent spies all across the world, including into their own nations, so they didn't like him very much.
We're not going back until there's some form of democracy in Snow.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Meanwhile, in Plains, Mr. Turkey, are you starting a revolution?
No, I do not want a revolution. I just want to make sure Alanula doesn't kill these people.
When are you going back to the Snow Island?
Be capped.
Probably tomorrow, because I'm gonna try and host a meeting with Alanula. I just think he's gone too far.
So while a freaking Turkey stayed on the Plains Island for the rest of the day, Seth and Sidefall created the first ever multi-island treaty. This treaty not only established Seth and Sidefall as allies, but it also declared their nations refugee states, ones that are willing to accept all people fleeing from dictatorial regimes, regimes like the Sultanate or the Akulon Empire. As for a freaking Turkey's position in the Akulon Empire, he was still technically the second in command, but it was only a matter of time before Alanulo finds out about the missing citizens, and then it's very likely that Turkey will be stripped of his position or be kicked out of the Snow Island entirely and become a refugee.
We're not gonna let that happen. The citizens can't let that happen, bro. If they do,
yeah, I don't know if
they are ill. I'm gonna be honest.
Is that a basketball court? On day 8, the center island was getting a lot of visits from curious players, and instead of fighting each other, everyone was just kind of hanging out and doing their own thing.
TB, look at this.
What is this? Don't question me. Later that night, some adventurer started terraforming the dead terrain, making it green. This actually looks not bad. These guys, meanwhile, made a secret underground church, and they hosted many ceremonies and cultural events. What type of ritual is this? Now, I actually attended 2 churches on day 8, the second one in Sidefall's nation, although I was very disturbed by the person sitting next to me.
After a near-death experience,
okay, why is he?
Life began to feel
yeah,
more
put some clothes on, bro. That's crazy. In public, it's crazy.
However, right away to lead this world.
Whoa, what did I do? They're taking him away.
I mean, he put his clothes on, so he...
Later that night, the
Plains
Island received an unexpected visit from the Akulon Empire's state-sponsored journalist. I'm with the news. Down with the news. Go away, tabloids. Go away. No false news.
Tabloids.
They're kicking out the journalists. Oh my God. Meanwhile, I ran into these Plains farmers who literally did nothing but plant wheat everywhere. Oh my God.
Look at all this freaking wheat.
Now, right next to the wheat field was a cookie factory in Horus Crown's nation, which took the wheat and made a variety of baked goods. See, ever since the Great Plains Alliance was signed on day 4, the people of Plains believed their island to be, for the most part, a very safe place to live, and as a result, many players felt secure enough to run their own businesses. There was the bakery, an Outback Steakhouse, boating and kayaking, 2 KFCs, and there was the most recent addition, Los Pollos Hermanos.
Yes, sir.
You made one in the Plains biome?
Yes, sir. W.
Claiming refugee status,
W relocation.
And the Sultanate farmers received citizenship in Sidefall's nation, where they were able to rebuild their famous restaurant.
Yeah, so this area
the people
nice.
of Plains welcomed the refugees.
I feel like you still need some sort of security because you never know. You know what I'm saying? Peace don't last forever. That's facts. We've seen that plenty of times. It don't last forever, so you gotta have at least something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe just one for now, just light security. But then if something ramp up, then obviously, you know, you act accordingly.
With open arms. The only person who wasn't happy was the owner of KFC, who now had competition. Anyway, when word got out in the desert that Drip Chicken and the farmers had fled the Sultanate, as did Davrit, many loyalists in the Sultanate were furious with these betrayals. While the Sultanate was still the second most powerful nation in the world, the first being Akulon, these betrayals of the Sultanate hurt the Sultan's public image, and he feared being seen as weak by the world and by his own people. So predictably, the Sultan sent his elite squad out into the desert to try to find and kill both Davrit and Drip Chicken. But instead of staying home in the Sultanate, this time the Sultan traveled with his elite squad. This threw a wrench into Davrit's assassination plan, and Davrit had no choice but to keep hiding underground until he saw an opportunity to strike. Meanwhile, the leader of Theria, Saps,
Don't kill my boy Drip Chicken though.
Worried because he knew that the fate of his nation and his people rested on this assassination.
Yeah, we don't want Drip Chicken. He just trying to run his chicken business, man. His food business. I think my favorite is probably turkey and Drip Chicken. So those are the two I really want like safe and not killed, obviously.
Attempt. If it succeeds and the Sultan
Everybody
is
else,
killed, well, then all is well. But if it fails, it will only be a matter of time before the Sultan finds out that Saps was behind the plan, and then there is no doubt that the Sultan
really
will seek
go.
revenge and absolutely obliterate Theria, killing not just Saps, but all his people who, by the way, were entirely innocent. Saps purposefully didn't tell any of his citizens that he was involved in an assassination plot because they definitely wouldn't approve of something that puts them in such danger. All of this tension in the desert was really starting to get to some people, like this group which made a giant lava wall around their civilization. They wanted nothing to do with the politics of the desert, and they were rather paranoid about everything.
The walls keep us safe. We can't leave the walls for long because then we're not safe. Everyone inside the walls is safe. Everyone outside is not safe. They're strangers. We shouldn't trust them. Oh, by the way, also don't push any buttons you find in here.
Okay. I actually think this group is more of a cult than a civilization, but
Nah, I kind of like that. That's good. That's good defense.
And now we go back.
But then if they need something though, it's gonna be hard to get in and out.
Because both major nations had already basically decided that they cannot coexist in the jungle. Seth was mad at the Sea People for killing many of his allies, while the Sea People were mad because Seth wouldn't let them kill those who they believed to be criminals. Neither nation was willing to compromise on this, so war seemed inevitable.
Civil War time. Yep.
However, because Seth had also recently formed an alliance with Sidefall from Plains, a war between the two jungle nations would likely cause Sidefall, as well as the rest of the Plains Island, to join the battle, thus turning this into an actual world war. So, given that the stakes were so much higher now, both sides agreed to have one final meeting to maybe work things out. It was Wazak who quickly offered his nation as a good neutral location for the meeting, and he was quite enthusiastic about hosting. On day 8, Seth and the Sea People sent their highest ranking officials to Wazak's nation, where the meeting would take place.
Holy. I still think war is still gonna happen though.
First.
I think the Sea People are killing people for a lot of irrational reasons. So, you know, as an example, right? They had 5 stacks of cookies taken from them. That takes like 3 minutes to get, bro. And he's like, I don't think you should murder someone over there.
We requested he give it back, and he basically said no, so he was put on KOS, and we killed him.
So that was exactly what Seth just said.
Let me add some context.
Soon, the
I mean, they shouldn't be stealing in the first place though. I agree with that.
I'm sorry, but what other ways do we have to stop the chaos in the jungle?
They stole. They didn't deserve to be killed over it.
Do you really want to go to war over this?
Well, if you keep killing our people, then we won't just stand by and watch.
All right, fine. The Sea People declare war.
All right,
Oh
let's do it.
man.
Wazak yelled.
Double, no!
What? Wait, how many? Damn. Oh, it's wartime. It's wartime. Hell nah. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, that's right.
Just killed 7 people using his sand trap before getting away.
I feel like though, for all that effort just to kill 7 people, that's low key kind of an L. But it was cool watching it though. Like I feel like he should have got some more inside his trap. But yeah, you can't come back from this. I can't go back. Like it's time.
And the Sea People
Suit up.
decided to put their war on hold and
My
declared
city
a
need me.
unified worldwide manhunt for Wazak. Everyone was confused about why Wazak did this, but then I remembered something
He's a
Wazak
crash
had
out.
told me the day before.
Listen, if the war breaks out, I have a plan to stop him.
Really? How?
Wazak just seemed like a crash out though.
When Seth and the Sea People declared war on each other, Wazak decided to use his sand trap and make himself the villain, so that the entire jungle would make peace to unite against him, therefore actually preventing a world war. Wazak is now hiding underground.
Yeah, Waz is a interesting character. Even from day one, he was different.
After spending most of the previous day trying to hunt down his enemies, the Sultan Storming Hell decided to take a break from the hunt and attend a wedding hosted by a small neighboring desert nation. It was a huge honor in the desert for the Sultan to visit your civilization, so there was a lot of buzz surrounding the Sultan's visit, and everyone in the desert knew he would be there. Zamta the Twin Guard was also at the wedding.
Maybe
he was
a
quite
wedding not
thankful
a
for the break,
good time
since
right now.
He secretly despised having to hunt for his own brother. When the Sultan demanded that Davrid be tracked down and killed, Zamta was horrified by this order, but he kept silent, fearing that he'd be next. Zamta could only hope that
Makes
Davrid
sense.
was
That's
far
your-
away
that's your
now,
bro.
hiding in a place where the Sultan would never find him. But it turned out Davrid was not far away at all, because he was on a mission.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lock in.
He's actually here.
Hell yeah, lock in. We finna get you, bro.
Davrid was coming to kill the Sultan, but
finna
he
get
had to
you,
be
bro.
sneaky because the Sultan was guarded by his elite team. The plan was to catch him and his team off guard, since it would only take a few hits to kill him.
Cause then get him gone. Probably bring in some peace, at least in that area. Dang, they in there deep too. Full Diddy.
Is the wedding end? The wedding's over.
What?
He's leaving. Oh, he's leaving.
Maybe now not a good time because he is surrounded though. Oh man.
Holy crap. Oh,
I don't know if he's gonna be able to pull that off. Cause it's just him.
so many times. Wait, Stormy's getting away?
Come on, Big D.
He was on Davrid big time.
Dang, bro, they're on his ass, bro. Come on, get the Sultan, bro. That was clean. That was clean. That was clean. All right. Come on, get him. Dang, I can't even keep up.
This is insane.
Dang, they're in there scrapping, bro. A whole brawl. And they're sitting there watching. Get the Sultan, bro, please. Damn. No. Bro. Fuck. That probably wasn't the, like I said, that probably wasn't the best. Sap. Just committed a sap. Yeah, the plan did fail though, but like, dang. Cause they probably gonna come out to him next. Damn. Oh, skill issue. Bozo.
Sultan's on his way back home, I think. What is happening?
Man, your boy got killed, man. I know that gotta hurt. Yes, sir. Get him. Get him. Yes, sir. Get that boy out of here. Yep.
Oh boy.
A New Hope.
The death
No
of his
Star
brother
Wars.
Davrid, Zamta betrayed and killed the Sultan Storming Hell in what he called an
I mean, you
act.
got to. That's your boy. Yeah. He killed your brother. You got to get back at him. You literally got to get your get back. Got to spin back. Got to spin back till you dizzy. Fast. Keep spinning. Spin.
Of revenge. All of a sudden, within the span of a few minutes, Storming Hell, Saps, and Davrid were all dead. Both the Sultanate and Theria were without a leader,
Major
and the desert
casualties,
island
though.
was in a state of total confusion. Now, because the Sultanate didn't have a solid line of succession, there was a short power struggle that ended with the Sultanate getting completely dissolved. On day 9, the second most powerful nation in the world had fallen, and most of the Sultanate's citizens ended up fleeing. That being said, it wasn't totally the end. Some who were still loyal to the late Sultan decided to form their own militias, whose only goal was to track down Zamta and avenge the Sultan.
We are called by our divine leader to kill the dirty traitor, mashallah.
Oh,
Theria, on the other hand, didn't dissolve and instead elected a new leader, a player named Jophiel, who was well liked and trusted in the community. Still, the people of Theria would continue to live in a state of fear, afraid they would be invaded by one of the new desert militias.
Yeah, they gotta figure out something
They would
soon.
never find out why their founder Saps jumped off the Therian tower, which he did because of guilt. After he saw Daveret die, Saps believed that the Sultan would invade and destroy Theria, and he felt too ashamed knowing that he would be responsible. It was only thanks to Zamta that the invasion didn't happen.
Yeah,
the death of the Sultan sent shockwaves throughout not
I
just
think they
the
would've
desert,
did that,
but
though.
the whole world. Many nations went on lockdown, including the Akulon Empire. While they technically weren't allies, Emperor Olanilo had always admired Sultan Storminghel's strong authoritarian leadership. So after the lockdown, Olanilo sent his diplomats to the desert to offer support to the Sultanate militias.
Are they gonna take that?
At the same time, on the Plains Island, Drip Chicken of Los Pollos Hermanos was watching the desert from afar, and he was worried about these rumored desert militias. Because
Glad you
Drip
said
Chicken was from the desert, he was able to educate his customers in Plains about the politics of the desert, and after Saps's death, he encouraged Sidefall to send diplomats to Theria quickly, and Sidefall did just that. On day 9, Theria
got
officially joined Seth and all the
politics and
Plains
freaking
nations
everything,
in the
dude.
refugee state contract, and what originally started as a simple refugee agreement between Seth and Sidefall had now turned into a worldwide alliance called the Alliance of Democratic Nations, or put simply, the Allies.
And all it cost was a couple casualties, big casualties, but at least there's some peace for now. For now.
As the people of the Akulon
is busted.
Empire continued their
This is
daily routines, the highest-ranking officials of the Empire gathered to discuss the new existential dilemma they were now facing. The Akulon Empire had always been the most powerful nation in the world, and it still technically is.
Alano, you
but
gonna be
when
next.
adding together the populations of all the states in the Democratic Nations Alliance, it is the allies that have more people overall. This made Akulon officials extremely worried. They saw this as the first legitimate threat to the regime. Olanilo agreed with this view, but at the moment, his attention was on another problem entirely, the problem known as A Freakin' Turkey.
We still didn't forget the
Freakin'
plan, though.
Turkey's rise to popularity had always bothered Olanilo, but now this conflict was at an absolute breaking point because yesterday, one of Olanilo's spies caught A Freakin' Turkey helping Snow citizens flee the Empire. Fleeing or defecting was strictly against Akulon law. Olanilo's spy also saw A Freakin' Turkey hanging out with not just Sidefall, but nearly all the major Plains leaders, which made Olanilo think, is A Freakin' Turkey planning something? Is he secretly working with the allies? Is he about to...
Of course, and then too, I feel like they have more. They're bigger in number. Just overwhelm them with just sheer number. Simple.
Orchestrate a full-scale revolution or
Get a
an
plan?
invasion of the Akulon Empire? These were all questions that Olanilo was wrestling with.
And they're gone.
The more he thought about it, the more he convinced himself that A Freakin' Turkey was probably committing some sort of treason and needed to be stopped. Yesterday, a freaking turkey had reached out to Alanilu for a meeting, and today, Alanilu accepted this request, but with a few conditions. 1, this meeting takes place at the Akulon Castle. 2, Turkey comes alone. And 3, the meeting takes place not today, but tomorrow, because Alanilu needed some extra time for his builders to finish a certain project located on the top of the Akulon Castle. Nobody knew why or what the strange-looking tower was.
No, you gotta explain that.
Alanilu insisted it be completed by the time Turkey shows up.
Yeah, I don't like that. And he by himself too? I don't like that.
Tomorrow is certainly going to be interesting, so make sure everyone's ready.
I don't like that tone. What that mean?
Alanilu sent diplomats to establish alliances with both the desert militias and with the sea people in the jungle. Alanilu appreciated the sea people's value of order, and he promised that he will help them stop the chaos in the jungle and help them catch their #1 most wanted criminal, Wazuk. The sea people accepted this alliance, but they ended up not needing Akulon's help because late into day 9, Wazuk decided to turn himself in. He's about to be executed. A guilty conscience, perhaps.
As he should, though. This is a W storyline, though. W video. Dang.
All right, Wazuk, I understand you have a prepared statement. You may now read your final words.
Yes, thank you. Hello everyone, it's your old friend Wazuk. In the beginning, I wanted to rule the world. But I've made some bad decisions. And now is my time to go.
You killed innocents, not making speak.
If there's one thing I've learned, is that time can never be your trusted friend.
Take that armor off.
Live the jungle.
Oh, I thought he was about to pull something. Okay. That's scary. I was like, hold on now.
After deciding that being a criminal in hiding isn't how he wanted to live, Wazuk instead chose to face his inevitable death on his own terms, and by doing so, he gave the jungle one last moment of unity.
Anyone else jumping?
The conflict between the two major jungle tribes was still unresolved, especially now that they were in opposing alliances, but for this brief moment, there was peace in the jungle. Well, that was fun.
To celebrate one common
Most nations around the world took the end of day 9 to rest and reflect on how far they've come. For example, the jungle's Blue Cross tribe celebrated becoming international with at least one charity location on each island. Meanwhile, in the desert, the two Sultanate militias held a funeral for the late Sultan, where they vowed to get revenge and chanted death to Theria, after which they proceeded to finish building the Sultan's holy city in his honor. Theria, on the other hand, expanded its reach into the arts and became the first civilization to develop music. Oh. Lastly, on the Plains Island, businesses were booming and civilizations were thriving. On day 9, the Plains Island
world
had
healing,
finished the
low-key.
construction of the ISH, the International State Highway, which made trade and transportation between the major Plains nations much faster. Overall, the
Everything
building
going good
and
so far.
architecture and player creativity in Plains was simply amazing, and it was all made possible by the political stability of the Plains
That's
Island.
all it is in
Many of the
Minecraft. This
desert
is
and
freaking.
jungle and snow looked at Plains as the shining beacon that they can aspire to be like one day.
This is
Brought to you
freaking
by
Rogue. I got an ad? Come on, big dog. You gonna give me an ad? Don't do me like that, big dog. Come on. I'm surprised I only got one ad. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I thought I was
As
on
the
my
end of the day
premium account.
approached, A Freak in Turkey returned to the Plains Tavern after spending the day traveling around the world, visiting civilizations in the jungle, the deserts, and of course the Plains Island. During many of his visits, he was very surprised when he found out that most people from these foreign nations not only knew about him, but admired him.
Motion.
This was because rumor had spread about his disobedience to Olanulo, and
Motion
as a
Man.
result, he had earned a worldwide reputation as the savior of refugees, the honorable rebel, the man who stood up to the emperor.
The GOAT.
And everywhere A Freak in Turkey went, he was welcomed with open arms.
The GOAT.
By the way, I think he would have been perfect for that.
Yeah, I heard there was a comedy show here. You should have called me over.
When it came to the Akulon Empire, the truth was,
That's my boy.
A Freak in Turkey had no intention of causing any type of uprising or revolution. In fact, he was strictly against the idea, knowing just how devastating a major war would be. But he did want change in the Empire.
I mean, it already
During
happened,
his
so you might as
prolonged
well.
stay in Plains, he had seen what freedom and democracy look like. He had come to regret his more tyrannical actions in the early days, and he now envisioned a reformed Akulon Empire. His new dream was to bring democracy to Snow, bring freedom to the people of the Akulon Empire,
That'd be
and make
character
the Snow
development.
refugees feel safe to come back home.
I might just be overly optimistic, but I think we can achieve world peace.
Okay. If A Freak in Turkey is able to convince Olanulo to convert the empire from a tyrannical dictatorship into a free democracy, and then the Akulon Empire ends up joining the Allies, then world peace
If
wouldn't
not, we're
just
gonna
be a
force him.
far-fetched idea for wishful thinkers.
He don't have a choice.
It would
He will join. If not, we're gonna get on you, and we're gonna all come together as one mind and do that. Facts. There is no option.
actually happen. With this massive goal in mind, A Freak in Turkey prepared for tomorrow for his big meeting with Olanulo.
Yo, man, keep your head on the swivel, Turkey.
Just remember everything we talked about. We'll be watching.
Before A Freak in Turkey took off for the Snow Island, he had met with the 4 major Plains leaders one last time to tell them what he hopes to achieve in his upcoming talk with Olanulo. The Plains leaders were pessimistic. See, when they heard about Olanulo's strict conditions for the meeting to take place, they suspected that this was going to be the meeting where Olanulo removes Turkey from his second-in-command position, or
just kill
worse,
him.
puts
Yeah.
Turkey in Akulon's prison.
Yeah, because we're not trying to get either or though.
The Plains leaders promised Turkey that he has the full support of the allied nations.
But you gotta have
Even if they
somebody
can't attend the meeting. They will be
on
watching
standby.
and will do whatever they can to help him.
Yeah, you gotta at least have something on standby in case something.
There we go.
Pops off.
Turkey is now back on the Snow Island. I think he's going to the meeting right away.
W footage. W camera angle. Facts.
This is weird. Turkey's been at the castle for like a few minutes now, and Olanulo's nowhere to be seen.
It's a setup, gang.
Oh, he's right here. He's on his way.
Feel like it.
Here we go. Everyone's here now. I think everyone's here now. Knights come to the castle.
This guy.
Wow, I think these are all the high-ranking officials of Akulon. They're all here.
It's a lot of them.
Hear ye, hear ye. All
Hear ye,
barons, Duke Turkey, and fellow knights have now come together to speak with Emperor Olanulo. Olanulo, would you please start the
Wait.
conversation?
Turkey, hold up.
So before we begin, sorry to interrupt. I have a special thing I want to do real quick.
Wait.
Here.
Drew, not yet. I want to do something first. Turkey, can you sit on the throne for a second?
Nah, that's a trap.
Why? Just do it.
Nah,
okay.
I don't have to do that.
What are we doing?
What is happening?
Can I trust you, Turkey?
Yeah?
You like this, right? Sitting on the throne?
You put me on here. I don't know what you're talking about.
In front of all these people?
Trying to play mind games.
Oh, what are you getting on about?
I know that you've colluded with the Plains Alliance. And I know that you want to take over this nation.
Oh, shit.
Take this throne for yourself.
Whoa. What?
There's nothing you can do at this point to convince me that you're not plotting a revolution against me.
Dang.
I caught you red-handed.
No! Alanulo! Yes, I've talked with Plains. I've also talked with Desert and Jungle. I am a diplomat. And I'll tell you this, all those people that I talked with will become our allies the moment we turn this place into an actual democracy.
He don't want no democracy.
Secretly leading people off my island?
That was AI.
They thought you were going to kill them. And to be honest, so did I.
That was AI.
So that's the point of this meeting. You want to get rid of me? You know what? How about I just leave, and you won't have to deal with me again?
I don't think you're gonna let that happen.
I'm just gonna go.
I don't think you're gonna let that happen.
Yeah, and then you'll come back with an army.
Yeah, you're not letting that happen.
I'm sorry, Turkey.
My guy! No! Damn! No!
Wow.
What the fuck? That's my nigga! That was the friendly neighborhood.
Oh. Wait, they're killing Turkey's supporters. They're hunting down his supporters as well. This is crazy. Like that, there was a purge.
Oh my God.
And many of Turkey's supporters were killed. The few who were able to escape immediately swam to the other islands to tell everyone exactly.
I ain't gonna lie. You know, that is the smart, like, I don't like it, but this is the smart thing to do, because if the supporters find out that Turkey died, they probably end up formulating a plan of get back. So as a dictator, emperor, you do want to kill off any semblance of the revolt, just like how Vader was trying to get rid of the Luke and Leia and the what was it called, the Rebel Alliance, I think it was. But yeah, but dang, not my boy. He was a good guy for real. Come on, man, he was a good guy.
What happened?
That's my boy.
All of the knights started executing Bernie, Ender, Turkey. They assassinated some of the most loved members of Akalon.
When Afrik and Turkey's death message appeared,
probably made it worse now.
People around the world were outraged, and shortly after, the leaders of the allied nations started activating their militaries, putting them on standby.
Turkey once visited Los Pollos Hermanos. I'm giving the army chicken for 50% off to make sure they're ready for battle.
Meanwhile, Alanulo got word that the allies were preparing their armies, so he declared a full lockdown, reached out to his own allies, and called them to the Akulon castle to be ready in case the allies declare war. And sure enough, when the Plains leaders talked with Theria and Seth, the vote was unanimous. On day 10, the Alliance of Democratic Nations officially declared war on the Akulon Empire.
I just want to say I wish you
For my boy
luck
Chicken.
and great success.
Gotcha.
Hopefully we all see some of you tomorrow to sign the Constitution of the new Akulon Republic. The new Akulon Republic that we all dream about having. Thank you. Thank you all.
This isn't about us. This isn't about our lives. It's about getting justice for Turkey.
Facts.
And ridding the
I
world
like
of
that too.
tyranny.
All the allied nations
I like how they ride for Turkey. That's beautiful.
Island, so attack the Snow Island together.
Today,
Look at him.
we fight for revenge. We fight for freedom.
Yes, sir. We fight for Turkey. Man, this is beautiful. It's beautiful.
But little did the Allies know, Oladiolo had set a trap. The Akulon builders had taken inspiration from history and created what they called the Iron Torch, the most advanced defensive tower in the world, complete with dangerous height, sturdy walls, arrow slits, and lava cover.
Dang.
This is crazy.
That is freaking intense. Nah, they got it though. They got it though. Y'all, for Turkey's sake, y'all can't lose. The Battle of Akulon. Yes, sir. Storm it, bro.
Time can never be your trusted friend or your sworn ally. No, it's the harshest mistress of all.
Y'all hope they win, bro. Please, please win.
And life is just a chain.
Now this is gonna be tough though. Having to deal with this Iron Torch. Look how many in there. Like, I respect the structure too. Like, I respect the craftsmanship, one. The leadership. Man. Travis not going back to see his family. It's over. You're dead, buddy. This had to be done, though. Sorry, it had to. Yeah, we finna get y'all. Dang. Dang. Yep. Got you. Got you. A lot of bodies dropping. A lot more than I would like. I don't like that.
They're dropping lava on them.
Y'all got this, bro. Y'all got this. Man, this is so freaking cool. The way they even organize this too is like really impressive. He did. I saw him drop. We gotta get him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Say goodbye. Maj, you know what to do. Get his bum ass out of here, man.
Wait, Elaniolo died? What?
That's what I'm freaking talking about.
Yes.
W. Good job, man. Good job.
Soon after Olaniolo died, the Akulon Empire officially surrendered.
Wait, Akulon's officials say they surrendered? Kill, still kill them.
But even though Akulon surrendered,
Yep.
the Allies didn't stop fighting.
Yep.
No mercy, no mercy. They're all saying
Facts.
no
Y'all
mercy.
killed a majority of the
Like
supporters.
that, there was a purge on the Snow Island, but this time it was the supporters of Turkey doing the killing. It's just an absolute slaughter fest.
Doing them dirty. Love that. I like the
After
shrimp
a while,
guy though. I like the shrimp
Allies
guy.
had completely taken over.
Damn, who gonna take care of the squid now though?
And all the Aculon forces had either been killed or had fled the island and gone into hiding. And with that, the Alliance of Democratic Nations had defeated the Aculon Empire. It was only when
hell
the
yeah.
war ended and the clouds parted that the Allies were finally able to reflect on what they had done. They had succeeded, but
At
they
what
had
cost?
also shown no mercy. When their enemy surrendered, they continued to be ruthless and thirsty for blood.
Yeah.
It was
Nothing
as
wrong
if
with
they had become their enemy.
Nah, cause they ain't
As the
show mercy
Allies
for
each safely returned to their homes. Now with a
Turkey
clear
supporters.
mind, many of them felt regret.
For what?
Neither side was completely innocent, and the war was complicated. But at least it was over. And the Allies had won.
Days later. See what we got now, man.
Over the next few days, the people of Plains, Theria, Seth, and a few smaller nations created a world alliance with a massive parliament building on the center island where world leaders met to discuss the affairs of their nations and, most importantly, to keep the peace. And the first order of business was pardoning the few living players who fought for Aculon so they didn't have to live in hiding. Meanwhile, the snow refugees were able to move back to the snow island and create the new Aculon Republic, putting democracy in snow. They also tore down the remains of the Iron Torch and put in its place a graveyard honoring all who died in the Battle of Aculon. And overlooking the graveyard was the man, or Turkey, who inspired.
I love that. I love that. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful statue, man. Well deserved.
And so, the jungle went back to hosting comedy shows, the desert went back to pursuing the arts, and Drip Chicken went back to running Los Pollos Hermanos. After all that happened throughout the days, things were finally settling down.
Sometimes you gotta destroy to create
For many
a
players,
new
the newfound peace allowed for new stories to begin. But for
new world.
us, it's a good place to end.
Dang, it looked good. They cleaned up nice too. I like how they repurposed the middle of the middle island for the world leaders to come together. Man, holy guacamole! That's it, bro. That's it for the video. 1,000 players build massive civilization. I gotta get that a like. That was freaking. You know, going into this video, I did not expect this video to be like super crazy. Man, this was beautiful. This is cinema, seriously, full glaze. Oh man, like the camera angles, the conflicts, the battles, the character development, the storyline, the storytelling. Beautiful. Real spill. The music, beautiful. Honestly, beautiful. Holy guacamole. I would probably say this is probably one of the best videos that we reacted to on this channel, on Skibidi. This was fire. Holy. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it, man. This is peak. Yeah, this is up there with the animation versus Minecraft reactions. Like fentanyl levels. Fentanyl. But I'm gonna catch y'all later. Man, y'all have a good day. And I'm out.